So welcome to this session. I'd like to invite you to begin by lying down on your back and coming into just a very simple resting pose like this. So I would suggest that you bend up your knees so you can plant your feet on the floor. And if you have something like a cushion or a folded blanket that you could pop behind your head, get myself one, or a pillow, that's a nice idea as well. So the idea being to begin just to really let ourselves settle and to perhaps have an experience in the physical body of the element of earth. So we can think of the element of earth as being the most solid and most stable and dense substances. And lying in this position, we can feel the support of earth for our back. We could have a sense of planting our feet into the earth. And I invite you to close your eyes, to turn your attention inward, and have a sense of the whole of the physical body as if like an earth of its own. A landscape. And now become aware of your breath. And it may be that it would feel nice to yawn or to sigh. A releasing breath, the feeling of settling. And then allow for your breath to settle and to flow, flowing as if like water. So allow the breath to flow in the body as if like water flowing over the earth, through the earth. Perhaps you can think of your breath like a tide, rolling in and rolling out. And see if you can resist the urge to change or control your breath in any way, and rather just let the breath come and go as it pleases, as if you might catch yourself in the act of being breathed. So it's very easy. Sometimes when you go to the beach, the waves are very ferocious, and sometimes they are barely perceptible. And the same now, it's as you turn your attention to your breath, it's that you're just seeing what it is like right now. So if we can think of our physical body as being like the earth, and our breath flowing in and out like water, then it's our mind that we might associate with the element of fire. So it's the element of fire that gives us light by which we can see. The element of fire is associated with perception, with mind, with intellect. And also with digestion, with the fire in our belly, our digestive fire. So turn your attention now to the abdominal space. If you like, rest your hands over your belly. And see if you can feel the breath moving inside the body, deep inside the body. Notice at the end of the inhalation how your abdomen might gently lift or expand. And at the end of the exhalation, how the abdomen might feel as if it was dropping down or sinking in back towards the spine. And begin to gently control or channel your breathing now. So it's slightly softer and steadier. You might breathe in and out only through your nostrils, and let there be a soft rubbing in the back of your throat using the Ujjayi breath. Deliberately begin to lengthen your exhalations. And now place your arms by the sides of your body, with your palms turned down towards the floor. And imagine your arms, or think of your arms as if they were like two nice long pieces of seaweed. And as the wave of the inhalation comes in, let your seaweed arms lift up into the air and take them towards the floor above your head. And then as the breath goes out, take your arms all the way back down, resting your fingertips lightly on the floor. And continue in this way for the next 5 or 6 breaths. So inhaling, arms reach up above your head. And with your exhale, you take your arms back down by your sides. And you're looking for a sensation in the arms of not being all tense and rigid, and yet also not completely soft and floppy. So you can give your arms some direction. And yet it almost feels like it's the breath that initiates the movement. Allowing the waves of the breath to lift the seaweedy arms, let them float up into the space above your head. And then back down, fingertips resting down by your sides at the end of the exhalation. And concentrating slightly on coordinating the movement with the breath. So the body and the mind and the breath are all engaged in the practice together. At the end of your next exhalation, leave your arms down by your sides and turn your attention to your feet. So let the arms rest. Bring awareness to your feet, and you might like to tuck your heels quite close to your sit bones. So you feel you can put a bit of pressure down onto the floor, onto the earth, through the soles of your feet. See if you can push the floor so hard that your pelvis starts to lift a little bit off the mat. Not very far, just practice that movement. It's like a kind of a pulley system. The feet push down and the hips lift up. So sliding your book, block, blanket or cushion out from behind your head now. We're going to make a little bridge pose, and it has been said that the breath is like a bridge between the body and the mind. So we're going to use well, let's start with a simple breathing pattern, and then we're going to try a more complicated breathing pattern. So the simple breathing pattern is just to inhale, lift the arms, and at the same time press into the feet and lift the hips. And then exhaling, lower the arms and lower the hips. so everything settles back down. So we'll do this 5 or 6 times. And we're, again, really working on coordinating the movement with the breath. And now we've got 2 movements to coordinate. So you've got a big movement of your arms and a relatively much smaller movement for your hips. And we want to do the movement with control and with a little bit of concentration. So both those movements last the same length of time as the breath. See if you can support the practice through your feet. And as you lift your hips off the floor, try and keep your knees directly over your ankles so your knees aren't getting wider apart as you move. And at the end of your next exhalation, take a little pause. Rest again with your arms down by your sides. Perhaps relax your breathing. And then we're going to do the same practice again, the same pose again, this little bridge pose, but with a slightly different breathing pattern. And it goes like this. So we'll inhale as before, lifting the arms and the hips together. But then I'd like you to stay in the posture as you exhale. And at the end of the exhalation, just lower your hips. Then let the inhale arrive. And with the next exhale, lower the arms. And we're going to do this another 3 or 4 times. So inhaling, you lift the arms and the hips together. Holding the position for the exhalation. And then lowering the hips before you breathe in again. The inhale arrives. And exhaling, lower the arms. So continuing at your own pace, or if anything feels awkward or uncomfortable about that breathing rhythm, just return to what we were doing before. We're lowering the hips in the little pause at the end of the out-breath before the inhale arrives. Inhale, arms and hips together. Exhale, hold the position. And maybe you can feel at the end of the exhale how the lower belly draws in and back towards the spine. You lower the hips down. And receive the breath in. Exhale, lower the arms. And then being at ease, let your breath settle now. Spread your arms a bit further away from the sides of the body. And you can put your blanket or pillow back behind your head. And take your feet a little wider apart now. So take your feet wider than hip width. If you are on a yoga mat, actually the edges of the yoga mat are quite a nice place to align your feet with. And if you can have the space to spread your arms out at shoulder height, that's a really nice idea to help your upper back really spread and widen. If there isn't room to take your arms all the way out to the sides, just take your elbows to the sides and let your fingertips fold in over your ribs or over your body. So this next movement is a little rotation, a little twist, and I sometimes call this the windscreen wipers. So we're just taking the knees a little bit one way and then a little bit the other way. Quite simple, and it's best done without ambition. So it's not about getting anywhere in particular, but about getting a really juicy sensation in the pelvis. So if you start with your knees at the center, and then on a nice long soft exhalation, take your knees a little bit to the left and let your right knee in particular slide forward so the right hip lifts off the floor. Let the inhale spring you back to the center. And with the next long, slow exhale, take the knees a little to the right, and it's the left hip now that lifts. Left knee moving forward. Inhale back to the center. and so on. So exhale, knees a little to the left, and it's like shooting an arrow from the right kneecap. Right knee moves forward, right hip lifts. Inhale, back to the center. And then exhale, as your knees go to the right, you let the left hip lift. And we just carry on gently rocking in this way. Emphasize the exhalation and the rotation to the side. If your head wants to move as well, then by all means let your head move in response to the movement at the pelvis in whatever way feels most intuitive. So if we can think a little bit about fires and the element of fire, to have a good fire, there's all sorts of things to consider to have a nice, good quality fire. But very simplistically, we've got to worry about underneath the fire and laying the fire, preparing for the fire, what's underneath it. And we then need to worry about, above the fire and getting air into the fire, oxygen into the fire. And interestingly, that model of a fire, a healthy fire, can apply quite nicely within the human body. If we think of the fire of our digestion in our abdomen, and then below that, it's like we've got the grate where all the ash settles, all the debris is kind of in the lower abdomen. And above that, we've got the lungs where the air gets in and the air that can fan the flames. So I'm thinking in this session about clearing the grate, clearing the space underneath the fire. If you have an open fire or a wood burner in your house, you will know this activity well. You've got to clear out the bottom of the fire, get rid of all the ash, get rid of all the debris. So that's kind of what the theme of this session is, if you like, clearing the grate, the space below the navel, below the fire of the belly. And then in the next session, we're going to be thinking about fire again, but more from the point of view of fanning the flames and working with the space above the navel, space above the abdomen. So as you continue this twisting movement, if you can emphasize exhalation and just enjoy this movement for the space below the navel, maybe with a sense of unsticking things, clearing things. And we'll just do one more to each side. And then you settle back at the middle. Let your head settle back on the midline. Let your knees settle back in the middle. And bring your feet and ankles together now. Feet, ankles, and knees together. And you might even like to put something between your knees. I'm going to sit up and get something actually to do that. So it could be a cushion or a blanket, or if you have a yoga block or a yoga brick. Something between the knees. Just to remind us to keep the legs a little bit active, a little bit earthy, a little bit working. So we're going to do another twist. And this time with the feet, ankles, and knees together, and a little bit of something to grip with the knees. Again, your arms can be wide and palms up or down, whichever feels better, or with the fingertips on the ribs. And starting at the center, we're going to breathe in. And as you breathe out, take your knees just about a quarter of the way to the left, and then hold that position as you breathe in. And exhaling, come back to the center, where we're going to inhale. And exhale, knees a quarter of the way to the right. So your left foot will lift off the floor a little bit. You stay for the inhale. And exhale, moving back to the center. So we're just moving on the exhalations. So continuing. This time we're going to exhale, take the knees half of the way to the left. Hold them there, so squeeze your blanket or your cushion. Keep your legs earthy, and exhale, knees back to the center. Inhale at the center, exhale halfway over to the right. Holding that position. And exhale back to the center. And continuing this time, we're going to go as far as we can to the left, but without uprooting the right shoulder. So you want to keep your right shoulder blade on the floor. Holding for the inhale and exhale, nice and smoothly and with control back to the center. Inhale and exhale all the way to the right, but without uplifting the left shoulder. So it's not about getting the knees to the floor, it's just rotating through your range of movement. Exhale all the way back to the center. If you're enjoying this, then do it twice more to each side. So going to your full range without uprooting your shoulder blade. You can let your head roll the opposite way to your knees. If you feel you're done with it, you don't have to do anything just because I said to. And when you eventually settle back at the center, take the cushion or blanket out from between your knees and take the feet wider again, or if you prefer to, stretch your legs out completely. I don't quite have space. And just be at ease now. Let your breath settle. Find a comfortable resting position. And let your attention settle again in the abdomen, in the area around the navel. And be curious about the sensations there and anywhere else in your body that you are particularly aware of sensation after those practices. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. So you're going to bend both knees up and in towards your chest. You might wrap your arms around your knees and just have a little rock from side to side. Release your lower back. And we're going to do a practice called Apanasana, or the English name knees to chest pose, but Apana is the name given to the energy of elimination or getting rid of stuff. So this is a really good practice for this sensation of clearing the grate, preparing the fire, and letting go of things and clearing space. So you place the palms of your hands on your kneecaps with your fingers pointing towards your toes, and let your heels drop towards your sit bones. So in fact, your legs are quite floppy. If you find it awkward to get into this position, try it just one knee at a time, or both knees together. And you let the weight of your legs pull into your arms. So the arms are straight, but not too tense. And then with a nice long exhalation, you soften your elbows and invite your top thighs towards your lower belly. Then as you inhale, the knees move away and the arms straighten. So we're going to do 6 to 8 of these. It will depend on the length of your breath. And broadly speaking, we're moving towards softer, longer, and slower. So each time you breathe out and bring your knees over your tummy, you might find you could let the breath last a little longer. And each exhalation has a feeling of clearing a space. By the end of the exhalation, you might almost feel a kind of compression in your lower belly with that deep fold at your hips. We're emptying out the breath and this feeling of clearing a space below the navel. If you're doing just one leg at a time, then swap knees now. Sometimes it's nice to make sound with the exhalation. Could just be a shh. Some soft sound can help the breath come out more slowly. And when you feel done, release your hold on your knees, let your feet come back to the mat, or straighten out your legs. Rest your hands over your lower belly. And again, let your breath settle. And pay attention to the sensations in your body following those breaths with Apanasana, knees to chest pose. And then I'd like to invite you to roll to your side and then come up to sitting. So, sitting with your feet out in front of you. Bend one leg in. So you bring one foot towards you. And the other leg, you could leave it straight like I have here. Or if you can, if this is accessible to you, you tuck the opposite foot behind you. So you end up in this slightly weird and wonky, unstable position. That is, that's normal to feel a bit wonky. But if this feels very awkward for your hip, what we're about to do can be done equally with the legs straight. So you've got one foot bent towards you, and we're going to turn towards that bent knee and see if you can get your hands down on the floor, more or less either side of that bent knee. If it feels like a long way to reach, then you could build the floor up with your cushions or your blanket. So you've got something to rest your fingers on. And we're going to make a little rotation here with this back hip. So the back hip is the leg that's straight, or if possible for you, it's tucked behind you, like a mermaid's tail, tucked behind you. And one of the advantages of having the leg bent is you can sort of push the edge of your foot into the floor here, and it gives you a little bit more of a feeling of power. So you're an angry mermaid slapping your tail down onto the rock, which is giving this little lift and lowering motion for the hip. Rhythmic. So we're going to do this rhythmically a few times. You might find it starts to synchronize with your breathing. And then what I'd like for us to try is keeping this hip lifted, and you turn further in the same direction, so beyond that bent knee. And coming into a nice twisted position. So you might feel a little bit of something happening around the belly. We're trying to drag the chest away from the hips. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears. And you just rotate around as far as feels useful, as far as feels juicy and delicious and comfortable in your body. You can have a peek over your opposite shoulder, a deep breath, and then if you're feeling like a kind of glamorous mermaid, you can undo this by lifting up your arm and rotating back to the middle, and bring the feet back out in front of you again. We'll do the same thing over onto the other side. So you bring your other foot now into across the body, and this leg can stay straight or be tucked behind you, whatever feels best. You turn slightly, so towards the bent knee, and then we've got this little lifting and lowering movement, rhythmic and rocking. So we're working again with the pelvis and lower abdominal space for a feeling of clarity, and hopefully comfort. And when we rhythmically move this part of the body a little, and you can really feel what it is to lift this hip, to let the pelvis turn towards the front knee, then you're kind of going to just experiment with how this goes in your body. So you don't have to turn an awful lot. You might be staying quite upright, and you get a good sensation here around the abdomen, a feeling of lifting the breastbone, shoulders dropping down away from the ears, or you could go, if there's more to go, you go more. But it's not that you can't do it wrong unless you're uncomfortable. You just wiggle your way around into it. If you've had your legs straight, you might let it bend. Wiggling in, a bit watery and mermaidy. And when you feel done, you just unravel and come and sit facing forwards again. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the first side. But if you can have something like, I'm just going to use a couple of pillows because that's the kind of thing everybody might have lying around their house somewhere. Just putting 2 pillows on top of each other there. But if you have a yoga bolster, you could use your yoga bolster, or you could make up a little pile of blankets or cushions. And we're going back to the first side. So you bring the leg that's going to be in front, you bring that in. And this leg stays straight if you prefer, or tucks behind. It's quite nice to sort of nestle the back knee in the arch of the front foot if you're doing this bent leg position. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to lift the hip, turn towards the front knee, keep the hip lifted and rotate more. So you want to get your hands either side of your cushions. And your cushions at this point might be singing to you, lie on me. I want you to lie on them. But before you lie down, lift your breastbone, lengthen your abdomen, get as much rotation as is possible. And then ease yourself forward and relax. And your head can turn either direction. So you're finding where's the nicest position for your head. If there's any kind of funny, uncomfortable sensations here in the hips and the pelvis, try just having a little wiggle around until you feel that's nice and settled. The intention for this pose, once you arrive in it, is that it feels, like that might be a nice place to be. If it's not a nice place to be, then don't hang out there for any longer than is necessary. You might feel happier staying up on your arms and working with this shape in a more active way, or just coming out altogether. But if you're comfy there, you can stay for a little while and we can lengthen the out breath. Maybe you use sound. Or you might like to try blowing your breath out through your lips, as if blowing through a straw. Long, soft and fine. Allow your eyes to close. Feel your cheeks softening away from your cheekbones. Relax your jaw. No biting down on the back teeth. Let the front of your body soften onto your cushions or pillows. Let the cushions hold your weight. Let the earth hold your weight. Breathing the body down. And we'll stay just another 30 seconds or so on this side. 2 or 3 breaths. And then to come up, it's a nice idea just to very slowly peel yourself up. So you can put your hands down on the floor, take a little bit of weight in your arms. Maybe as you lift up, you drop your chin. So you're looking down as you lift up. Ease yourself back to upright, straighten out your legs. Just see how that's feeling. And then you've got an option. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my pillows and put them on the other side. If you prefer, you leave your pillows where they are and you turn yourself around. See what makes most sense for you in your space. Before we do the other side, you might just want to reach up and push away with your heels and just have a sense of a nice, big, even, symmetrical stretch through your body. And then we're just going to do the same thing to the other side. So the other leg now, you're bringing your shin towards you, and then you can bend what's going to be your back leg, or you can leave it straight as I have here. I'll show you it this way now. We're lifting and lowering the back hip, a little bit of rhythmic movement. And it's like we're turning the pelvis towards the bent knee and we're turning the pelvis towards the props. So we're turning the pelvis with the body as we come into the twist. So you keep that back hip lifted. Take some support on your arms. Have your arms either side of your cushions. And before you lie down, really make space. See if you can lengthen your breastbone away from your pubic bone, so the abdomen's long, and feel that rotation. You can even bring your hand around and sort of stroke your belly organs around towards the cushions. And when you feel you've got as much rotation as is comfortable and possible, you just let yourself rest down. And you have a little wiggle around with your legs and your hips, so it's really comfy. And let go. Again, it is intended as a place to arrive in with a feeling of relief. Oh, that's a nice place to be. So it's not meant to be grueling or unpleasant. If you're finding that, reverse, come out, see if there's another way of doing it, or maybe more cushions are required, or maybe it's better for you to stay up a little more upright, supporting on your arms. You can still work with long exhalation and enjoying this shape, this direction of movement. If it's possible now for you to just completely let go, relax your legs, close your eyes, soften your face, release your jaw. You could swallow. And deliberately lengthen your exhalation. You can make sound. You can blow as if through a straw, letting the breath seep out through your gently parted lips. You could even hum. Breathing the body down. Letting the pillows or cushions support your weight. Resting now, a restorative practice, restorative pose in restorative postures. There's no effort required. Rather than feeling that we're holding a yoga posture, a yoga asana, could you have a sense that the posture might be holding you? And we're going to stay with this practice on this side just for another 30 seconds or so, 2 or 3 rounds of breath. When you feel ready to come up again, peel yourself up nice and slowly. So taking a little bit of weight on your hands, tuck your chin down, easing up, not too fast, nice and slowly. And this time, once you come to upright, you might like to just come onto your hands and knees and do a little bit of the cat and cow movements, or spinal mobilization, just again something symmetrical. After those nice supported twists, you can emphasize here again exhalation and the rounding of the spine and the feeling of the lower belly drawing in and back. And then we're going to lie back down on our backs and get ready for a guided relaxation, a practice of yoga nidra. So my recommendation would be, if you have a yoga bolster or some pillows like I have here, to place them behind your knees, and then to take your cushion or blanket that you had earlier behind your head. And if you can, then take another blanket to cover up and keep yourself warm. This would be perfect. So just a nice, simple, supported resting position. If you do have something that you could place over your eyes, like an eye pillow or even just a light scarf, that's really lovely. If you don't, you might like to just take your hand onto your forehead, and it's like you just smooth the skin of your forehead down towards your eyebrows 2 or 3 times. So have a sense of smoothing and soothing the forehead. And then letting your arms rest by the sides of the body. And getting ready for the practice of yoga nidra, in which absolutely nothing is required of you other than your presence. To be here is already enough, and to be comfortable. So this practice really works best when you're very comfortable, very much at ease, and you can stay still, not through a sense of effort or force or willpower. I will stay still, I must stay still, but through a real genuine sense of, oh, how lovely, I'm so warm and comfortable and at ease, I can let go. So please do what you need to do where you are to find that place of comfort and of ease. And allow yourself some space. If it's possible to take your feet a little wider apart, why not? If it's possible to spread your arms a little further from the sides of your body, why not? Occupy the space. Feel the back of your body gently softening and spreading. Feel the length of your back from the base of your skull all the way down to the base of your spine, the back of the pelvis. Be aware of the position of the body, the shape of the body, the form of the body. And a sense now of the whole of the physical body letting go, dropping into the support at your back. Receiving the support of the earth at your back. And being aware of the breath flowing in and out of the body, as if like water, ebbing and flowing. A wave of breath rolling in, a wave of breath rolling out. And you may like to gently lengthen your exhalation just for a feeling of letting go, of relaxation. But you can also find that you can just let the breath be and let the body be breathed. And the mind's attention can rest on the breath and be at ease. Following the breath in and following the breath out. And now invite your mind's attention to make a journey around the body. And it's as if you could shine a light into each and every part of the body now, so as to perceive it more clearly. Beginning with the thumb of the right hand and moving now to the right index finger, the middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the palm of the hand, the back of the hand, right wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, armpit, shoulder, right side chest, right side waist, right hip, thigh, knee, shin, calf, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe. Perceiving now the whole of the right side of the body all together, all the way through. And now turning your attention to the left hand thumb, as if shining a light so as to perceive it more clearly. Left hand, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, armpit, shoulder, left side chest, waist, hip, thigh, knee, shin, calf, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe. Perceiving now the whole of the left side of the body all together, all the way through. And now bringing awareness to the back of the body, the back surface of the body. Perceiving the soles of the feet and even the little spaces in between the toes. The backs of the heels, backs of the knees, buttocks, lower back, mid back, upper back, all of the back of the neck, back of the head, the whole of the back surface of the body, all together, all the way through. And place your attention now on the very top of the head. And from here, it's as if you could shine that light down from the top of the head over the front of the body, perceiving the front or the top surface of the body. Letting the awareness move from the top of the head to the forehead and over the face to the base of the throat, the center of the chest, the center of the abdomen, the center of the pelvis, the pelvic floor, the whole of the right leg, the whole of the left leg, the whole of the right arm, the whole of the left arm, both legs together, both arms together, both legs and both arms all together. And now perceiving the whole body, all of the parts of the body, all together, all the way through. The whole body as one. One sensation, pulsating with light and with life. And now gaze into the space behind your closed eyes, the warm, dark space behind the eyelids. Paying attention to what you see there, may be nothing, maybe just darkness, or there may be colors or patterns, or even images. Just gazing into this space and having a sense that this space might be extending out before you without end, without limit. It's an infinite space. As is the space behind. the space to the right side, the space to the left side, the space above, and the space below. Having a sense of this infinite space all around. A sense of the space being infinite. So any thoughts that might arise are very, very small and not disturbing. The space is infinite and the thoughts are small. And now focus your attention on your forehead, on the point between your eyebrows. And visualize there a steady flame, like a candle flame, or if you prefer, just a point of light. And let your attention be focused on that steady flame or point of light, as if gazing at the steady flame, focusing the attention, focusing the awareness. And now let that go. And prepare to let this practice go. Feel the position of the physical body, the shape and the form of the physical body. Feel the contact between the body and the earth at your back, the floor on which you are resting. Feel the texture of any clothing and blankets against your skin. Feel the touch of your breath inside your nostrils or moving inside the body. Listen to the sounds that you can hear around you. Sounds nearby and sounds further away. Have a sense of where you are, which room you're in and who else might be there, where you are in the room. Gently wriggle your fingers and wriggle your toes, and know this practice of Yoga Nidra is drawing to a close. Connect with your senses of smell and taste. Lick your lips or run your tongue along your teeth. Have a yawn and a stretch. Know this practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. This practice has now ended. The practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. So please be intuitive now about what's needed. Maybe just a little rolling of your head from side to side. Maybe hugging your knees towards your chest and rocking on your back. Maybe just quietly rolling over to one side now and allowing your eyes to gently open. Not being in a hurry. Letting yourself find your way into a side lying position. Take time on your side. Let your eyes open. Welcome in the light. And once you can focus clearly on something that you can see in the space in front of you, ease yourself up to sitting. Peel yourself up off the floor and come up to sitting. And we'll complete this practice with a little seated practice of Brahmari. If you feel very strongly like you don't want to get up off the floor and you're safe and well in your own home, then you could do this lying down as well. So all we're going to do is some humming, but we're going to hum with our palms over our eyes. So it creates quite a nice feeling of a kind of buzzy feeling in our head, a nice sensation for the eyes and the brain. I'm going to buzz our brains. It's nice to have warm hands, so you can rub your hands together and generate a little bit of heat in the palms of your hands. If you don't feel like humming, it works quite nicely as well, just with nice long exhalations. And when your hands are nice and warm, you place the heels of your hands just above your cheekbones, the palms of your hands over your eyes, fingertips just on the top of your head. And we're going to stay for 4 nice long hums or long exhalations. When you've completed, I suggest you let your eyes open behind your palms, and then just very gradually open up the fingers and let a little bit of light in through the cracks until you feel ready to take your hands away from your eyes. Let your hands settle down on your lap with your palms turned away from the body, palms turned upwards. Paying attention to sensation all around the body. And then with an inhalation, bring the palms of your hands together. And as you exhale, guide the joined palms into the center of your chest. Bow your head, curl your lips into a smile. Namaste.